What's going on, guys? Is this thing working? Are we live? It looks like we're live. What's happening, y'all? Welcome to Two Wheel Tip. Well, it can't really call it. It's Wednesday this week, running a little bit behind schedule, but if you've made it, thanks for stopping by. If you're new to the channel, consider liking, subscribing, ringing the bell, and all of those things because it helps so much with getting this channel up and running. And in saying all of that, guys, look, the channel is really not much more than a background noise generator talking about, in this case, motorcycles, cars, and pretty much anything powered by an engine. Talk about all kinds of stuff. But for Two Wheel Tuesdays, or in this case on a Wednesday, we're talking bikes. So I'm going to let a few folks come in. Oh, Ryan's already in. Oh, I got the bald guy with the flex in the specs. I like it. The chat gives you guys an opportunity to interact directly with me, and that's always fun. Another thing that this live show does is it allows me to work through some show content that can't really or doesn't really, for whatever reason, usually it's on me, doesn't really sort itself out for a standalone video. So I might talk about different motorcycles that I've ridden for ride reviews, bikes that I like, some bikes that I've either grown to like or maybe grown away from, some bikes that have surprised me with how good they are. And so it allows me to do a little bit about that and, again, interact directly with you guys, which is always a good time. Ryan McKenzie is in. My man, what is kicking? So, guys, a couple of updates. One, I'm still waiting on the exhaust from M4 for the GSXR 750. Now, look, I understand that it's the busy season and, we've got all this other kind of crazy stuff going on, what with it being, the rains and all this other stuff that are slowing this down. But I got to admit, I'd be lying if I didn't say I'm getting a little antsy waiting on that to show up. I do miss my 750, although I did take the GSXR 1000 out for a ride. And although there's no replacement for displacement, and the absolute rush that you get out of a leader class bike is something to be mentioned, no doubt about it. But, well, I got to tell you, I miss my 750. And the reason why I miss it is because it's just such a playful bike. And I got to say, I kind of got a little bit of that itch scratched when I was able to take out the Suzuki GSX-S 750. And I want to talk a little bit about that bike in this live because that is a motorcycle that if you are into sport bikes, but you don't like the overcommittedness of the riding position, if you like the idea of sport bike power, but you don't like the idea of sport bike insurance or the fairings just themselves, whatever the case is, that GSX-S platform is damn good. And if you like middleweights, I'd say it, but the S750 might be every bit as good as the R750, and in some cases better. So I want to talk about that just a little bit. Ryan saying, you meant Wings Wednesday, not Two Wheel Tuesday. I know, right? So we can start talking a little bit more about the Warbird stuff, engine technology, different things that made those old Warbirds tick. There's some cool things that I, as a docent at the Hiller Aviation Museum, I was the engine specialist. There's a lot of it that I've forgotten, but there's a lot of it that I remember. So at least there's that. And it was always a lot of fun, not just for the Warbird application, but for the old school OG original internal combustion power plants that those mad scientists were putting together way back when. We're talking the Hall Scott 6-cylinder engines with 5-inch bores and 7-inch strokes with Hemi cylinders, not cylinder heads. The whole thing was cast together and was literally shaped like the top of my head, valve angles included. So all kinds of cool stuff when we're talking about that. We can always talk about that, but homework assignment for you guys, if you're bored to tears and can't sleep, check out videos and other articles on the early Hall Scott engines. They're pretty amazing. You had shaft drive camshafts that were overhead cam and Hemi headed. So all really cool stuff. If you ever get the I don't know, the whim to go check out stuff like that. It's definitely some interesting reads. Ryan saying, I don't get how I got mine in like 9 days and I'm still waiting. Yeah, I know. So here's the thing. I know that M4 was behind. They got to a spot where they just simply got behind. And again, with the weather up in Dallas, because that's where M4 is located, that was kind of an issue. And the other thing might have been, I don't know if it was ordered on time. I didn't order it, but at any rate, it has offered us the opportunity. It is going to get an S23 front tire installed while it is in. And so not that there's anything wrong with that, the BT016 that's on the front of that bike, but they don't make it for resale. It's only an OE application. And so I'm going with a full set of S23s on that bike. And I'm already carrying some nutty corner speed with that thing. So we're going to probably, I don't know, carry on that tradition. Ryan saying, rub it in. Ryan saying, oh yeah, my guy's old lady bought me a Conti 650 green as a gift for buying the house she wanted for us. Dang, that's awesome. I love it. That's one of my favorite bikes that I've ridden. Congratulations. Dude, that's killer. Tim's checking in saying, hey, from Australia. What's going on, Tim? Hello from Texas. This guy saying, what is the motorcycle count up to? It says back up to 3. I love it. Ryan saying 865 big bore kit from SNS. Guys, I got to tell you, so when I rode the Royal Enfield, the Conti GT, the Continental GT, the 650, the interesting thing about that bike is what I found about it was that it was a lot better than I thought that it was going to be. Let me see if I can pull one of those up for you. If you're not familiar with the Continental GT, let me pull this up right quick. TIAL, Continental GT 650. If you're not familiar with this bike, guys, here's the thing. I wouldn't want to bias your opinion at all. But I got to tell you that this is the bike that I got to ride. And I immediately, you know, you get some bikes and you just kind of gel with the thing, right? This is one of those bikes. And I was such a nimrod for not buying that thing. The funny thing, there's a story behind that bike, though. When that bike was brought in for trade-in, I rode that bike within about a week, maybe 2 weeks. It's probably closer to 2 weeks of it hitting used inventory. And I rode it and I did the ride review on it. And I started to think about that bike a bit more and then a bit more. And the price of the thing, it wasn't very much. And I thought, man, considering the deal that I could get on this bike, I could have a lot of fun with this. And then I guess I started thinking about the Bonneville and like, well, the Bonneville is kind of like what this is. And the Bonneville is more powerful. But when I rode the Royal Enfield, it wasn't like it was slow or lagging or was anything like that. It was actually pretty good on the freeway and it had plenty of power in reserve. You weren't going to win any drag races with it, but that's hardly the point of this bike. It is a true retro bike. It's like you just bought a 1967 motorcycle. So I thought more of it and I thought better of it. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and pick that bike up. I'm just going to go run up to the dealership real quick and let Hunter know, look, man, I'm going to go ahead and I'm taking the Royal Enfield home. Just get the paperwork ready and I'll come sign it. But instead of calling, I went up to the dealership. Well, that bike sold about 2 or 3 days before I made that decision. And so I just hadn't been to the dealership and yeah, come to find out I was, one of those day late and a dollar short type of things. That's where I ended up with that Royal Enfield. So awesome bike and absolutely true to form, true to nature, old school motorcycle that, it's kind of funny. if you enjoy motorcycling just because you enjoy the motorcycle, you like being on two wheels, wind in your hair. Anyway, you get the idea. If you like that kind of stuff, that motorcycle is such a sweetheart. And so I absolutely wholeheartedly recommend it. Let me check in with you guys. Hang on just a second. Hang on. Ryan's talking about after the movie's putting the big bore kit in it. I love it. Ryan said, got a rounded stable, the Scout, the Gixxer, and now the Royal Enfield. Dude, I love that. That is so awesome. Ryan said, I've been pursuing the marketplace for a potential third. I really am thinking of an SV650. Funny you mentioned that. I'm going to be talking about that bike here pretty soon this week, potentially. Won't have to pay sport bike insurance and get the reliability and the fun that comes with them. So for you guys that may not know, one of the bikes that I have zero experience with other than having a girl run around me at Thunder Hill on a warm-up lap. The SV650 is an amazing bike, and there's guys that have made all kinds of builds out of them, from outright track bikes to scrambler style to street naked hooligan style, street fighter type bikes. They've done all kinds of things with that bike, and that's one of the things that is so cool about the SV650. It's been around since the earth cooled. They have got more. There is more aftermarket support for that bike, I think, than any other motorcycle that's out there. And the guys that have them freaking love them. So you can't go wrong with that machine at all. Ryan's asking Skids if he still has a sport bike. No, I do not. Right. Don't miss the insurance on the Ducati, though, for sure. Yeah, tell me about it. It's not a Panigale. So one of the things that I've found with whenever I'm feeling blue, I always go back and I know that at least my insurance guy loves me, right? Like there's that. No, seriously, these bikes can be a bit pricey to insure. And once I get to a certain spot with my bikes, they're going on liability because full coverage gets a little pricey, even with high deductibles. But you're not going to see a high insurance cost on a Royal Enfield Continental GT. And you know what? I wonder, are we looking at, let me see something here. What about the 750? Is that going to be a thing? We started to look at the renderings. Bear with me just a second, guys. I think we've got some renderings. This was one of the first ones. If you guys remember, this was one of the first renderings where they had the, that fairing, little bit of a GP, old school GP style fairing on that thing. I thought that was going to be a pretty cool thing. And then we had, I think there's a video, another rendering of this bike. If this is a rendering, let's see. Yeah, I think some of these are just outright renderings, but I don't know. You get the idea. These are cool looking bikes, and I don't know. Here's a real cool looking one. If this one sticks, I don't know. If something like this were to stick, I'm afraid I might have to just go ahead and pull the trigger. Something that's just kind of like that. But I'll tell you guys, if you haven't seen it yet, speaking of retros, because it looks like retro might be making a comeback. Hang on just a second. Bear with me, guys, because I think where I am about to be going with this, because we now have some motorcycles to talk about. Oh, bear with me here. The new GSX 8S TT, or GSX 8, I should say. See if I can get you some better renders of this thing. So let me get this one pulled up for you guys. Let me do this. Let me flip this right back over. Check this out. So if you haven't seen this thing, this is the new GSX S8. Let's see if I can get a little bit better for you guys. Bear with me. This is a little bit awkward. Let me get back to this. Now, if this makes it to the States, this would be awesome. But this is the new GSX S or GSX 8R, GSX 8S TT. Now, that is a hell of a good looking bike. And it looks like, and this is coming from Kiwi Rider Mag, but this might be something that, limited markets are able to get their hands on. But this is going to be a great bike. This is using that 776 parallel twin. It's got all of the makings of a very fun standard motorcycle, utilizing arguably one of the best parallel twins in the market right now. And that even is including the Hornet 750's power plant. Guys, this motorcycle is going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be right in that sweet spot in terms of power output where that GSX 8S and the GSX 8R currently reside. You guys know how big of a fan I was of the adventure bike variant of this, which is probably one of the best adventure bikes that are out there right now. Almost want to call it a Tenere. For whatever reason, that thing's escaping me. Not enough coffee yet this evening. But anyway, great bike, great engine, great riding experience, great performance all the way around. And so one of the things that with this body kit, in essence, what you're getting is all the technology, but with a sweet retro skin, if you will. So yeah, I have, I don't know, some optimism that would make it to the States, but I haven't heard of anything just yet. Let me check in with you guys real quick. Oh, Ryan saying I drove the GSX 8. It was nice, but felt underpowered compared to the Gixxer. Oh, for sure. Absolutely it will. Yeah, it's a fun bike, but it's a bit limited in its scope when it comes to outright performance. But yeah, it is a hell of a bike nonetheless. Let me see something real quick. Oh, I screwed that up. V-Strom. God, why can sometimes names just escape me? That was the name of the bike I was trying to come up with. In the V-Strom, that engine is really good. Why do they call it a V-Strom? There's no V on that bike. There's no V configuration, and it's not exactly Strom. Anyway, that bike is really good with this engine combination, even at the weight that it has to carry. I got to say, it's one of the more fun bikes to ride, especially as a city bike, and basically just an urban only, not something you're going to take on super long rides. Not that you couldn't, but who's to say you can't really ride? I mean, this engine makes power right in that sweet spot going down the highway. And I got to say, of the parallel twins that I've ridden, and again, the V-Strom included along with the 8R, this has been one of the more rewarding bikes to ride as a commuter, because a twist of the wrist with that 776, and this bike is getting with the program. So when it lacks in outright power, it makes up for it in character and very usable and very accessible torque. Oh, Ryan saying it's the name from the old V-Twin 650. That makes sense. Shared an engine with the SV650. Very nice. I know that the 1050 is a V-twin. But yeah, I just, for whatever reason, that name V-Strom, and then the Honda Tenere is the other one that I'm always just like, what's it called again? It's one of those things that my brain just ain't gonna lock that in for the long haul, I guess. Oh, Ryan saying there were tons of motorcycles out this evening. I'm bringing mine up with me next time. Where'd y'all go? Hold on. What did I miss? Oh, man, I missed a bunch of you guys. Hang on a second. Right, Jake from State Farm, follow restraining order. I understand completely. You check with Jake. Ryan's up in Springfield visiting some family this week. Stopped by Harley Davidson. It was small, kind of sad. I'm going by Indian and some others tomorrow. I'll tell you what, here's I hate to say this, man. I haven't done any kind of Harley Davidson content in a hot minute. In fact, the last thing I did was to compare the new Hornet SP to a bike that I probably would have bought if Honda would have made it, which was that Street Fighter. They also had the Bronx. I got to say, man, every time I put together Harley content, it just kind of goes nowhere, unfortunately. I mean, a lot of guys will watch it. Don't get me wrong. It's just that when it comes to how popular that content is versus other content, man, folks are just really polarized when it comes to that brand. Right. So yeah, all the letters and numbers can get confusing. I'm so bad with names. There's got to be some kind of I've got some kind of weird mental block when it comes to names. But yeah, the V-Strom, for whatever reason, I just cannot. My brain cannot cast a net over that. And yeah, Ryan, the getting back to what you're saying, the GSX-8, it's not going to hang with the 750. I tell you what, though, the bike that was very, I don't really want to say eye-opening, but I mean, I guess it kind of was. The S750, the GSX S750, that bike was a flipping riot to ride. With it being tuned more for mid-range power, it was a little bit punchier, again, stock for stock, than the GSX R750. Now, once you got it above, say, 10,000 RPM, really less than that, about 9,000 RPM, it starts to level off a little bit. But under that RPM, it's a fun bike. Naturally, after that, though, the R would absolutely it'd be over with. But man, what a fun bike for sure. But absolutely more power than the 8, no doubt. Either way you go on that. Sam saying, wow, wheels up Wednesday. Kind of, sort of, yeah. Let's see. Ryan's hanging out with Ryan. Let's see something real quick. Yeah, Ryan's saying Missouri's got some great cruising roads. Missouri has some of the best riding ever. I did the Porsche tour through Texarkana into Arkansas up into Missouri to Big Cedar Lodge. Oh my goodness, that was a good run. Sam, let's see. Sam's hanging out with Ryan. Goldfish is checking in saying, good to see you. Do I need to adjust preload on my 2025 GSX-R 600 front and rear? I'm 175 pounds with gear negative. You don't even have to touch that bike, bro. Please let me know your thoughts. Guru. I don't know if I'm a guru. Love from LA. Is it Louisiana or is it Los Angeles? No, at your weight for the GSX-R 600, no, you're in good shape. I'll put it to you like this, man. I'm a little bit heavier than you are. And I absolutely love the stock suspension settings on the 600. And for your weight, it's absolutely perfect. You are the weight, by the way, that bike, I think, was calibrated to. Typically 175 for those bikes. And if you're doing track days, I mean, depending on your sag, you might want to stiffen them up by, I don't know, half a turn, get your sag down a little bit in the rear. But no, for street riding and just going out and ripping the thing, having it on the side of the tire and just having a ball with that bike, which is what that bike is really good at, don't worry about messing with the suspension at all. Because I can tell you this, I wouldn't touch it if it were me. And that's me riding it pretty aggressively. In fact, it's not that bike. I'd have to go back and look at the owner's manual, but I don't think the 600 and the 750 are that far off with their initial settings. 750 might be a little bit stiffer on, and I mean just by a slight margin on valving and preload, but it's not by much. I can tell you that. And I mean, I get out with that 750. Well, even if it was a little bit stiffer, it'd probably make up the difference between my weight and yours. And I haven't touched anything on that 750. Ryan saying that ATT is sick. Yes, it is. Oh. Let's see. Ryan's, I've been drilling over the FTR 1200. Yes. Are they still making it? They are still making the FTR 1200, aren't they? Oh, yeah, Ryan's saying they stopped production. Man, and with no replacement, that is a heck of a neat bike, too. Ryan's better half saying we need to look at an Indian Springfield. She's got the bug. Yep. Man, Ryan, you're exactly right. You know, loving some Harley Davidson, obviously, but they've got to get their stuff together, man. They need a competitor to the double T for sure. The 975 and Cafe Scrambler. Man, here's the thing. Harley Davidson has everything they need to make that bike go, right? Like now. There's got to be a way to take the Pan Am and make a change. Suspension, put different forks on it, different triple tree. I can't see there being a reason why you couldn't make that out of that bike. It might be a little bit long just because of engine layout or whatever, but screw it. It doesn't matter. There's got to be a way to do it. And Harley's missing the boat, man. Every time, I don't know. I don't get it. They don't want new youthful enthusiasm walking in the room, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's, it reminds them of their own mortality. When you see young people walking through the front door, I don't know, but I got to say there are so many opportunities. There's so many opportunities to get it right now for those guys. And it just absolutely drives me nuts that they won't. But again, you got some old guard and they just, I don't know. I can't answer the reason why they won't build a bike that the kids want to buy, but they are, or can buy for that matter, but they're certainly not doing it. Although they did lower the pricing recently, I think didn't they lower pricing on the Softail Standard? Great bike, by the way. I don't know if they did or if they didn't, they need to. I know they did lower the price on the 970 bikes, but that was the only one that I know of. Let's see. Let me look that up real quick. Harley Davidson. I just want to see where they're at. Harley Davidson 2025 pricing. I don't know if we're going to get outright pricing off their website. Let's see something here. They have sport? Really? See, and here's the thing. Let me pull this up for you guys. Here we go. Okay, so under sport, you got the Nightster, the base model Nightster checking in at $10,000. Is that a lot of money for a base model Nightster? I don't know. Nightster Special, though, with a seat and a fairing and a slightly different paint job, but no different engine, some different rims, that thing is $2,500 more expensive. And I don't understand that. I mean, where's my $2,500? These are the questions that kids are going to ask. That's another bike that it's hard for me to remember the name of, the Nightster. It's a good looking bike though. That's the thing, but not for 12 grand. So there's definitely an opportunity. Hang on, let me dive into this. Bear with me here. Bear with me. Get up to the Pan Ams here. There's definitely an opportunity in here. Obviously, the ST, the Pan America, any of the Pan Americas I like. I've ridden them. It was a very surprising bike for me. But if you look at this, there's got to be a way to turn that into something else too, right? Like, but not have it be 20,000 whole ass dollars. That's the disconcerting part. You know, a Nightster's going to check in at 10 grand. But you can't get the one you want. You got to spend another 30, almost 30% to get it. I don't know. And the thing is, one of the bikes that I really like is the Street Glide. And I can't afford one of those, but they're nice. So anyway, getting back to you guys. Good looking bikes. Too bad I can't afford them. Yeah, Ryan, they did. They used to start at like $11,000. And oh, you know what? Let me look at, I was trying to answer my own question here. Bear with me just a moment. Just a moment. Where did they go? Breakout Fat Boy, Heritage Classic, and Sport. Wait a minute. Where are the Softail? Got trikes, cruisers. Am I missing something? Anyway, shows you what I know. I am so disconnected from Harley Davidson. I hate to say it. They're great bikes, don't get me wrong, but I see so much more potential and so much more opportunity for growth within that brand moving forward and setting a pace that could keep them in the race for being in top billing for, you know, decades to come if they would just make the switch and start making bikes that folks can afford. So there's that. And again, it's not that I'm not a fan of Harley. They just have to make bikes that people can start to afford. And I didn't even see the Springer in there. All right, let me check in with you guys. Ryan's liking the Indian. Yeah, I like the Indian too. Ryan saying all the Softails have the 117, but with different power and even torque levels. Yeah. Sportster S looks good. Again, it's a lot of money, but the guys that get them end up liking them quite a bit. Brent's not liking the Nightster. I tell you what, I did go check out the Nightster and it did not fit me at all. I wanted it to fit. I didn't go in there hoping that it wouldn't. It just, that bike, I felt awkward on that bike. Ryan saying the Nightster S is great seating position. Tues been getting 120 horsepower with them. Not sure a Rebel can get there, but I mean, do you need that additional power and at what cost? Well, the thing is that we all want more power, I suppose, but I think the reality to that is, I know guys are able to get quite a bit of power out of them, and the guys that are hot rodding those things do love them, but I just would like to see that power plant in something that is a bit more sporty and that can handle that kind of power better than what they're showing us. Hey, Mom. Mom's checking in. Ryan saying the new sports dress is begging for a cafe racer look. Isn't it, though? For sure. Some builders have done them and they look amazing. And that's the thing. But, I mean, Harley-Davidson had that Sportster look bike we were looking at in one of the other shows. I mean, it's a killer-looking machine. They've got their own history that they can fall back on. I mean, the whole selling part for Harley-Davidson is in their nostalgia, right? And that's really what they're selling. But they've got their own bikes that they could look back to and go, oh, here's our cafe racer. And the thing is that you just got Harley guys that won't sign off on it, unfortunately. Ryan saying no Springer since 2008. I don't think they've had a Springer since 2008, but didn't they have the Softail Classics? Let me look at something again real quick. What's going on here? Maybe I'm just missing it. I'm scrolling on this other screen right now. Bear with me, guys. It would have been in their lineup unless I'm just catching a case of the dumbass. Let me look at 2024's lineup and see if something changed. There's the Trikes, Cruiser, Lowrider, Street Bob, Softail Standard, yeah. So for 2025, there is no Softail Standard. Wow. You heard it here first, guys. Yeah. Under Cruiser, you've only got Street Bob, Lowrider, and Breakout, Fat Boy, and Heritage. No Softail. Okay. So let me just say this. Let me pull this 2024 up, and I'll let y'all, let me scroll it down so you can see what I am seeing. I am butchering this up. Okay, so here's the thing. If you look at, come on, thing, work with me. This is 2024, 2025, not showing a Softail Standard. Now, back then, it was $14,999 would get you what is, in essence, the quintessential working man's Harley-Davidson. And if you can't get a Softail Standard anymore, guys, I'm sorry, but that checks me 100% out of the brand, without a doubt. I mean, I don't see, if you're not going to make the Softail Standard and you're only going to focus on what's high ANSP, which on a manufacturing side is high average net selling price. If you're going to focus only on the expensive stuff, get out of my corporate jargon over here. Dude, how is a 24, 22-year-old tradesman just getting into this, getting his first Harley, going to be able to afford a not any other bike? You can't get a Softail Standard anymore. Everything else is $17,000, $18,000, $19,000. Anyway, I don't want to sit here and just keep kicking Harley-Davidson in the nuts, but it feels like that is a significant screw up. That's a bad idea. Holy crap. I cannot believe that. And that would have been last year. Let me look at something here. This would have been last year. So there's our Pan Ams, there's our Sport, and there's your Nightster at $12,000. So that would be your entry level, if you will, non-traditional yet still somewhat traditional Harley-Davidson at 12 grand. So they knocked 20% off of that bike, but only knocked off $1,000 off the Nightster Special. Come on, man. I mean, how are you supposed to? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Make that math for me, please. I don't know. But after looking at it, I mean, dude, that Nightster is one thing, but I mean, the Softail Classic, it's in the name. It's a Softail and it's a classic. Anyway, I just feel like that the Softail Classic should have gone for 10 grand. Take some price out of that thing. There ain't $14,000 in a Softail Classic. Sorry. It ain't working like that for me. Anyway. Oh, Ryan saying the drop in power from the Pan Am to the Sportster S makes 0 sense. I can't answer why they dropped the power on that. Maybe it's something to do with the chassis. I have no idea. But it's got to be something in the actual ECU that in the tune itself. Brent's saying, look in the cruisers. Maybe I missed something for the Softail Classic. Did I miss something in Softail Classic? I may have glossed past it. I'm hoping I didn't. That Softail Classic's got to still be available. So we've got Grand American Touring Trike Cruiser. There's your street. Here it is. Okay, Cruiser is Street Bob, Lowrider S, Lowrider ST, Breakout, Fat Boy, and Heritage Classic with the Fat Boy Gray Ghost, which is the new bike for 25. So yeah, there you go. I guess the Street Bob is supposed to take the place, but does it take the place? I don't, maybe it does. Maybe if you floss it out in black, and maybe that's the bike for you. It went up $1,000, but maybe that's what they're trying to do with it. I don't know. Although the Lowrider S checks in at $20,000. Guys, there's no flipping way. You got to be kidding me. For that bike, that's just not worth it. Anyway, enough about Harley Davidson. Again, I don't want to tee off brand. It gets so frustrating for me because I see where they could do so much better, and they just continuously figure out ways to yank defeat from the jaws of victory, it seems like. Let's see. Ryan saying, holy shite, 17 for a bobber. My Scout was only 11. Exactly. So even the Scout 60 versus the regular Nightster, I know it's just a better value on the Indian side. And I know that look, I'm sorry, but the Indians are damn nice bikes. And I don't know. I don't know that I am I don't know if I'm such a brand loyalist in one way or another. Again, I'm not a cruiser guy, so I can't really speak to it. But if it's my money getting spent, Indian starts to look pretty good once you start looking at some of those other prices, don't they? And here's the other thing. With Harley Davidson's reputation preceding them in terms of customer support in some parts of the country, I don't know, man. I've heard some horror stories with those guys. Not locally. Locally, we're really good. Stubbs Harley Davidson, San Jacinto Harley Davidson. I know those guys, and they will take damn good care of you. But elsewhere, I don't know that it works like that for you. Ryan said, what would make for a good video would be to ride the Indian Chief Bobber, then ride the Harley Davidson Street Bob. If I could line them up back to back, I would. There's only one catch with that, though, and sometimes getting a leg over a Harley Davidson can be a little bit more difficult. But I don't know. I'm still kind of basking in the glow of the Street Glide. And if I had the money to buy a Harley Davidson motorcycle and I were so inclined to do so, then the Street Glide would more than likely get my money. That was such a fun bike to ride, and it was a much better bike than I thought that it was going to be. you know, I don't know, but that the Challenger I think is still up in inventory, and that bike's been getting quite a bit. The Indian Challenger, that bike's been getting quite a bit of love. So we shall see. I don't know. There's been quite a bit of traffic on that bike. So, but guys, with that, we are coming up on right at 45 minutes, and I've got to get back to work. Everybody say hi to Mom for stopping by. Hello, Mom. And but with that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Get out there and do something cool for somebody. Chances are they need it way more than you know. I will have an update on the GSXR 1000 coming up soon. I've already filmed it. I just need to go ahead and load it. That'll probably happen either Thursday or Friday. But with that, I will keep you posted. GSXR 750 watch is in full effect. I can tell you that of the bikes that I've ridden lately, that GSXS is at the top of my list as far as being fun bikes, but I am going to try to get you guys some more content on some ride-along videos here really soon, hopefully next week if it doesn't freaking rain. And with that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and check out. If it's your first time coming by the show, hope you had a good time. Hope to check you on the next one. And for the rest of you guys, thanks again for stopping by. Always appreciate seeing you. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Y'all take care.